Okay, so this is Charlene Harris, and I'm with the Dream Builders team. I'm a director, and tonight I'm going to be talking to you about recruiting. So one of the first things I like to point out is that recruiting is a philosophy more than anything else. We are really not looking to talk anybody into joining Usborne. I know a lot of people will train you to pinpoint people and, go after them, tell them the right words, give them the right information, and then they sign up. Well, I think the truth of the matter is we're really not looking to talk anyone into this. We're only looking for those who would like a job like this. So unfortunately, we're not mind readers, so we do have to go about certain ways of figuring out who it is that would like a job like this, and then get them some information. One of the first things I like to talk about is there a need for more Usborne reps? And the answer is absolutely yes. Right now, the last number I heard, we have about 25,000 consultants, and only about 20% of those are actually working. But let's say that every one of them was working. We can kind of compare ourselves to other direct marketing companies, and I know one for sure, Mary Kay, the makeup folks. They have 30,000 consultants in just Dallas, Texas alone. So that kind of tells you where we're at in terms of, is there saturation or too many people? We have a long, long way to grow. Lots of people out there looking to do something like we're doing. Is there a need? Yes, I think there's a great need because we all know that the literacy rates are low in the United States, that video games and television and all that has risen way above actual reading, and so our children's skills are going way down. So we need to increase those literacy rates, and one of the easiest ways to do it is just by getting books into the hands of the children. I heard I think this was in the Read Aloud Handbook, that the number one indicator of how well a child will do in school is how many books are in the home. So getting books in the home of the children in the United States is a priority and will definitely help with all the low literacy rates. Our schools, as you probably know, the funding is way down. They're just not as funded as well as they could be, and they're lacking lots of things, and one of them is books. Their libraries are getting old, and they need to replace those with updated books. And then again, if we look at the women and their families of the United States, there's a lot of single moms out there raising their families all by themselves. But there's a lot of women in general who need to help support their families. It used to be a long time ago that it was an option for the mom to stay home, but truthfully, not anymore. It takes two incomes really to keep the household running. So Usborne, as you already know, is a way to stay home with your children and still earn some money. So it's a great way. I've been with the company a long time, for over 20 years, and I started when my kids were little, and I was a homeschooling mom. My children are now through college, and I needed a way to make some money, and I didn't really want to give up homeschooling to do that, so I needed to find a way to work outside of my home. And Usborne is perfect fit for that. I get all those books, and then I get to earn some money too. So I went ahead and gave it a try, and it was really one of the best decisions of my life. I stayed home with my children all those years, and I make a very, very nice income with Usborne books. So it was been quite a blessing for my family. So we have that to offer other women as well. And I think that's really the best part of all of this, is helping other women succeed and do well and help their families and get books in their homes. And so many, many reasons. And yes, absolutely, there is a need. We need to have reps all over the United States getting these books in the hands of our children. So here's some statistics. 20% of high school seniors can be classified as being functionally illiterate at the time of graduation. 70% of prisoners in state and federal systems can be classified as illiterate. 85% of our juvenile offenders rate as functionally or marginally illiterate. And then the last 43% of those with the lowest literacy skills, they live in poverty. So we're all book lovers, and we understand the value of reading and having books in your home, but there are so many people out there that don't understand it, and they don't make it a priority in their home, and their children are suffering for that. So how do we meet these needs in recruiting? First, the more people out there that can reach all the schools and libraries and their neighbors with these books, the more children will have them, and there'll be more reading. It'll be more priority. Our schools, our programs help get free books into the schools. I think we actually have a really high. We give back a lot in terms of free books, more than most other book companies. We give them lots and lots of free books. It's really great. I love doing that. And then, of course, with any family, to have a second stream of income can mean the difference between the extras in life or the essentials, just having the essentials. And a lot of times the Usborne income carries the whole family. So there's lots of reasons to get out there and recruit. So, okay, that's the reason I wanted to talk about that most importantly is because where to start is with you. Recruiting starts with you in your mind. So you have to find out how you feel about it before you go out and start recruiting, because a lot of things will hold you back. Like some people are scared to do it, that maybe they don't feel like they have enough information to tell other people about it, or maybe you don't think it's that great of a job, so you're not really enthusiastic about sharing it with somebody else. Maybe you think Usborne is great, but you just don't have the words or the tools to share with somebody else. So there's lots of things that you are already thinking that will either help you or hinder you in recruiting. So your mind is a really important thing that you need to change or bring under control to be a recruiter. I always tell people, first we talked about how there's a need, and I want you to keep that in mind, that there is a need. And most of us are women of integrity, and we want to help other people. So if you focus on that, the need is great out there, you will go out and share the information with other people because of the need. Also, if you really love the company, if you like the job, that will propel you to tell others about it. So I encourage you to go out and review why you love Usborne Books. I know we're in a changing time with Usborne. It's with the new website and all that. It's not been easy to continue to say I love Usborne Books. But if we think about the product and we think about the company in general and what it does for people, I think we can all say we still love Usborne Books. And believe me, as a director, I know better than you the struggles that have been going on. But also, as a person that's been around Usborne for a long time, I also know that we will get through this. And it may not be easy, and it may not be as quickly as we would like, but we will get through it. And those who stick around will be better for it. They'll be ready just to explode and take off and grow your businesses even faster than you possibly could before. So, in fact, if I don't know if you know Randall White, the CEO and president of the company, if knowing him and his personality also gives me great confidence that we will get through this. He will do what it takes to get us through this. So, and they're already doing that. We had the directors had a Zoom meeting today with the new IT guy that they brought in, and I'm highly encouraged that this is a can-do guy, and he's gonna make things happen. So, so we can still feel the love we have for the company, just putting the computer part of it off to the side, and we will get through it, and it will get better. So review why you love Usborne Books, and there's many reasons. That's really easy to do. Every book reminds you of how much you love the books, right? Review why you love the company, And so get your mind in a good place for recruiting. Then the third thing is, what does Usborne have to offer? You have to know your programs. So what can you offer people? It's very nice to say to anybody, oh, Usborne can help you. But if you don't give them any specifics, what Usborne can exactly do for them, it's kind of a hollow report. So people like to know specifics. Now, I'm not talking about every detail of every program in our company, but have a general knowledge and a general overview of what we can offer them. And you might use terms like, we can get you lots of free books, or Usborne can help your family by bringing in added income to go on vacations, or go back to school, or whatever you need to fund. Usborne can be that second stream of income that can help you do that. So another point about recruiting is, you also don't want to give them too much at one time. So a big mistake a lot of people make is that they dump everything on a person at once and they don't give them a chance to breathe. So keep the big picture in mind when you're initially sharing. Once they've decided to join, or they're really looking into it, they might want to know all the details of it. But at the beginning, when you're first introducing the idea, keep it general, and use general terms like, we'll get you lots of free books, or you can make a good income, things like that. And maybe paint a picture of what their business might look like to them. And a good way to do that is to tell them what it looks like for you. People really like to know about you and your personal experience, so be willing to share that. Whenever I talk to people, I always tell them I've been with the company for a while, and the reason I started was I just needed an extra money to buy a car, because we drove the worst cars. And being a homeschooling family and living on one income, we just flat out didn't have the money to buy a new car. And so I thought, if I could just work enough to make a car payment, that's really all I wanted to do. And that's what I went looking for. So I was, when I started, I was easily able to make that car payment. And of course, I went on to pay for all the music lessons and the sports, and go on vacations, and you know, we bought a camper and all different things for my Usborne books money. So you can tell by what I said, it was very personal to me, and the specifics of my family and what we needed. A lot of people will hear your story and relate to it. So make sure you know your story and make it very succinct. Don't get too bogged down in all the details, but do share a few details, and that will tell them what owning their own business might look like. Okay, and then be ready with the information they need to make a good decision. So one of the things that I use is the recruiting packet that the home office offers. I think it is under resources right now. I'll have to go back and look for that. And in the old office, it was under, recruiting packet. So I'm sure it's there some way. It's really nice. And if you can't find it, you can email me and I'll send it to you. Okay. If we can't find it on the back office, I have one downloaded. So you want to be ready with information, and you want to give them enough to make a good decision, but not so much that they have to wade through it all before they can decide, because that just overwhelms them. So that monthly recruiting packet that the company puts together is wonderful. I really love it, and that's what I still use to this day. Okay. So first we're going to, you want to get your mind together. Okay. So very practically, what do I say to somebody when I want to recruit them? So this is my, and I don't really want to call it a line, because it's the truth. It's not deceiving them. It's just something I say. Okay. And I've written down here, and I call it a conversation starter. So you just want a reason why how you can introduce Usborne to people. So I say, and I'm very upfront with people. I don't try to sneak around or trick them in any way. So I lay my cards on the table, and wherever I'm at, I say, I'm looking for people in this area to help me rep the books. If you're interested, or you know someone that is, I can give you a packet of information about it, and you can read all about it. There's no obligation. It's just information. So I use that to start conversations with people. So if you're at a booth, say you're at a booth and there's lots of people, whenever they come in to look at the books, I usually have a little formula that I follow. And the first thing I do is I ask them what age children they're buying for. And they usually tell me, and then I ask them, can I show you my favorites? So then I take them around and show them some Usborne books. And I can always tell if they're going to buy or not by if they hold on to the books or if they set them down. So if they're holding a stack of books, I can tell right away that they're quite interested. So my first part of my formula is I want them to be an Usborne book lover, so I show them the books first. And that's my rule of thumb with everything. I always show the books first. And then I go on to the other things. So once, if let's say they're buying the books, or maybe they put the books down and they're not buying the books, I usually say, you know, you can get these books for free if you want by having a party. So the next part of my formula is I introduce them having a party, either a Facebook or a live party where they can get books for free. And I see how they respond to that. The next thing I do, the very last thing I do before they leave, I say to them, oh, and by the way, one of the reasons I'm here today is that I'm looking for people in this area to help me rep the books. So if you're interested, or you know somebody that possibly is, I can give you a packet of information about it. There's no obligation. It's just information. You can read all about it. So after I do that, then I stop and I let them speak. And I definitely want to see their reaction to what I just said. And what's interesting about it is there is no big reaction to it. It's not emotional at all, like, oh, no, anything like that. Usually I get a very simple, okay, or no thanks, you know. So if I'm at a booth, I usually hand them a clipboard and have them fill that out. And I walk away and I get them a packet of information. So when I return, they've mostly filled out the survey, so I look on it and see where they live or something like that, and I open up the packet and show them the kit special, and then we talk, because they usually they'll either just take it and walk away, or they'll want to talk about it, what they might do with Usborne, so on and so forth. So I think it's really important as you're recruiting to introduce the idea. Then give them a chance to speak, give them some more information with a packet, and then let them speak and let them direct the conversation, not you. The people who just talk at people are the ones that are not great recruiters, because they don't stop to listen to what the person really wants and what the person needs. So some of the tips at a booth that I have that I think are very important is I always tell them that I'm going to call them in a couple of days after the booth, and I usually give them the day I'm going to call them and tell them that, you know, I'm going to give you a call on Thursday. So if you're interested, that's great. I'm going to help you all I can. If you're not, it's okay. Just tell me. I appreciate your honesty. So I feel like that puts them at ease, that I'm not a predator, that I'm not just looking to talk them into this at all costs, but that I'm really interested in what they think about it and what they want to do with it. So I think that's an important part of being a recruiter, is to be able to let the people have their safety and you're okay with it. So now if I'm not at a booth, I'm at a party, a live party, or even at a Facebook party. At a Facebook party, I always have a post about recruiting. And then as I'm interacting with the guest, I'm always saying the same things. Well, I'm looking for people in this area to help me rep the books. So anybody would like a packet. So this very same introductory conversation starter works wherever you are. The other day I was with a friend who just retired from teaching. And she had asked me about the business because she knew I worked with Usborne. Not about recruiting, but she just says, how's your business going? And I know from experience that might be her wanting to know more about the business, but she doesn't want to come out and really ask. So I told her it was great. And, you know, we were having a computer conversion, but once we get through it, you know, all this, it's really a great company and so on and so forth. And I said, you know, I am looking for people in this area to help me rep the book. So if you're interested, or maybe possibly, you know, somebody is, I can give you information can read all about it. So this conversation starter works wherever you go. And you don't have to use this one, but you can if you want. But think of your own conversation starter. How can you introduce the idea and see if the person has any interest? Because remember, there's lots of people out there that are interested in this, but if you don't start the conversation, they'll never bring it up to you. So, okay. I want you to, this is a picture of a New York street corner, very busy, people going in many directions. So I want you to picture yourself in this large group of people here, and you're handing out information about Usborne Books. So you're just standing there and you're, handing, saying, would you like some information? Would you like some information? Would you like some information? So you have a couple of choices. If someone stops and takes the information, you can pull them off to the side, get them out of the crowd, and talk with them and tell them all about Usborne, give them the best flyer, tell them everything you know about it, and whether they're interested in recruiting or not, let's just say they're not interested and they walk away. So since you weren't able to recruit them, you're kind of a failure in that arena, right? Because you focused all your energy on that one person and they decided not to do it, then you sort of failed at recruiting. So what I want you to do, instead of that, pulling people off to the side and focus on them, I want you to keep yourself in the middle of the crowd and always be giving out information. So several years ago at convention, Belinda Ellsworth was speaking there. I don't know if you've heard of her or not. She's great. But she said something that was a real light bulb moment for me. She said that if you have one person thinking about recruiting and for whatever reason they say no, then you failed, right? But if you have 10 to 15 people all the time thinking about it, if one says no, it's really no big deal. You have all these others to work with, right? Recruiting is a numbers game. And what I mean by that, if you go through enough numbers, you will find enough people to give information to then out of those numbers, you find the ones that actually want to do something like this. So your focus shouldn't be on one person or the right words or the right actions with that one person, but your focus should be, who can I give information to? How many people can I give out packets of information to? And that have all these people thinking about it, then some of them will recruit and some of them won't. So I changed that from thinking, how do I talk people into doing this, to thinking, who can I give out packets of information to? So my list is potentials, not just one or two. I always have just tons and tons of people thinking about it at all time. When I do a booth, my goal is to give out 20 packets of information at each booth. So for me to do that, I have to introduce the idea to a lot of people. So I do. Every customer, everyone I talk to, I try to end it with, hey, by the way, one of the reasons I'm here today is I'm looking for people in this area to help me rep the book. So I literally ask everyone I can. And then out of those people, I will have quite a few say, oh yeah, I'll take a packet. And then out of those people, I will have some recruiting. And what's nice about it, once you get their information, then you stay in touch with them for the future. It may not be their time right now to recruit. They might not be ready. Or maybe you just planted the seed of the thought of it and it hasn't grown in them yet. So it's important that you follow up with all these people and don't forget to do that. If you tell them you're going to call them, absolutely call them back, because they will be expecting you to. And so if you don't call them back, it tells them something about you, that maybe you didn't care or you weren't really serious or something like that. So your following up on people you give information to is every bit as important as anything else that you do in the recruiting process. And that does remind me that recruiting is a process. People have to go through the process and you can't jump it for them. You can't hurry them up to get them through learning about Usborne to actually recruiting at your time frame. It has to be theirs. So I may hand out 20 packets and one or two of those people recruit, but all the other ones will hear from me every month from now on. And so I often get a year later someone sign up from a booth I did a year earlier because I stay in touch with those people. Now, the new computer system is going to be great once it's all up and running. It'll help us keep track of all these people, and then we can sort and filter through who we want to send emails to and announcements to about different things. I'm really looking forward to that part of it working, and I think that'll be soon. So, okay, so just to review this a little bit, you want to keep yourself in the middle of people. Now, if you we're on a street corner with two people walking by, you have less chances of recruiting than if you are on a street corner like this where there's thousands of people walking by. So one of the number one things you need to do to be a recruiter is to keep your calendar full. You have to meet the people. That's very important. It's important for booking shows and for recruiting that you have to be where the people are. So you book up your calendar, do booths, do live parties, do Facebook parties, do every place where you can go and meet people so that you can offer them the business opportunity and offer to book parties for them. So, okay. One really important thing is don't prejudge. And, I was so bad at that. I prejudge people all the time. I would look at them and like these pictures at the bottom, I'd say, oh, that person's too busy. I'm not going to offer her any information. Or, this one, she doesn't seem like she's bright enough to do this, or maybe that person's too shy. Or the last one, this person's perfect. So whenever I made a decision about a person, I was most of the time wrong. So I learned that a long time ago to stop judging them. I don't judge people and decide for them ahead of time, either yay or nay, but the only thing I do is I give them information. So I stop judging them, and I just, with literally everybody, I offer them a packet of information about the company. So it's really hard to stop prejudging people because I think it's in us, but you'll really be head and shoulders above the game when you do stop. Okay, so what are some of the things, if you haven't been recruiting lately, some of the things you might want to do is fill up your calendars, get a lot of bookings on your calendar so that you can meet the people. I find that because I'm well-rounded in what I do booths, I do book fairs, I do school and libraries, I work with, I do Facebook parties, and I do live parties too. And because of that, I meet a well-rounded amount of people in all different arenas. So I know when we first start with Usborne, sometimes we can go through our friends and family list pretty quickly, and then we're stuck with nothing left to go on. So try to branch out from just your friends and families and to work with new groups of people so that you can get new leads. So so you might want to, if you are just talking to your friends and family, a good way to start is to make a list of 2 categories of people that people you would like to work with. Like, let's say you have a best friend or a neighbor that you really like this person and it would be great to work with them. So you might call them up and say, I've started a new business. It's called Usborne Books. And I thought of you because I think it would be so much fun if we worked together. We could do booths together. We could, do some parties together. I think it would be really fun. If you'd be interested, would you like a packet of information? So once again, we go back to the packet. We're only asking them if they want a packet of information, not if they'd like to join. I think that's a pretty important distinction. I don't want to ask them if they want to join. I just want to ask them if they would like to read all about it so they can make a good decision for their life. So this person that you've decided, hey Krista, this person that you've decided you want to work with, tell them why you want to work with them. I think that's a good idea because you're complimenting them. Hey, I'd really like to work with you. You're fun, you're funny, you know, you love people too, and this would be a great thing we could do together, something like that. The second list that I'd like you to make is people who you know might need a job like this. Maybe you overheard at church that someone's friend lost their husband lost their job, or that you might hear a mom say, yeah, we'd really like to put them in sports this season, but we just don't have the extra money for it. Or my car broke down and I'm just not sure how we're going to pay for it, things like that. There's lots of talk going on all around you, wherever you go, of people and their needs. So you could give them a call and say, hey, I heard that you didn't, you know, that your husband lost his job. I'm working for a company called Usborne Books that you can work out of your home with. And it's really a great way to bring in some extra money, and you can start bringing it in right away with Usborne. Would you like a packet of information about that? So once again, you don't ask them to join, you ask them if they want a packet of information about it. So that's a list of 2 different types of people that you could contact. I hear it all the time, people's needs, but you have to tune yourself into listening. You probably hear it too, but you just haven't brought it to the forefront what people might need. So that's something you can do first. Another thing you can do is if you have an upcoming booth somewhere, make a pact with yourself, make up 20 packets and take them with you, and set a goal for yourself to give out all 20 packets. Now, that's going to force you to ask everybody, you know. Do give them a chance to turn into an Usborne book lover first by showing them the books. Don't just yell at them as they're walking by. That never works. But do talk to them, show them the books, and then before they leave, say, by the way, one of the reasons I'm here today, okay? Another thing is make sure at your Facebook parties that you have a very clear and precise post about recruiting and what they need to do. Now, again, I don't ask people to join. I ask them if they'd like a packet of information. And sometimes I even call it a free packet of information. And I just tell them to post down there or PM me if they would like a packet of information. At a live party, I'm a little more, there's more to it in that I bring up the business opportunity 3 times, and it's usually attached to a story about it. Like the first time I bring it up, I tell them why I've joined Usborne. And then another time I'll tell them how it's, you know, bringing in a second stream of income is really easy with Usborne Books, so on and so forth. So I plant seeds, and then at the end I ask them all, you know, if they would like a packet of information about the business opportunity. So I don't beat around the bush. I just lay my cards on the table and offer it to them. So, okay. So again, what to do first, make a list and fill up your calendars. I need to move down one. I think that's the bottom one. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Recruiting is a philosophy, just to go over it a little bit. It starts in your mind. If you feel good about Usborne and the books and the opportunity, you're going to share it more readily than if you don't feel good about it. So if you have some kind of reservations about Usborne Books, then you need to talk to your team leader, or your, you know, go up if you want and get some answers for it, because it's going to make recruiting really hard if you don't have the enthusiasm. And you can talk to me if you want, because I am Usborne's #1 fan, and I have been for a lot of years. It changed my family's life. It made me a world traveler. We have new cars. My kids had all the lessons and the things they needed to go through school. Oh, and here's the final thing. This'll really get you. I was able to put all 3 of my children through college with my Usborne business. Every dime, every parking pass, every book, every car they needed, every computer they needed, everything they needed to get through their undergraduate degrees, Usborne Books paid for it. And if that's not a reason, to recruit, that other people can do this too, I don't know what is. My children then, to give you a big picture, look at this. Since I paid for their undergraduate degree, they came out with no debt, and they were able to go on and get their master's. And my daughter went on to become a nurse practitioner, and they all bought houses because they didn't have debt to start out with. And so I was really able to give them a head start on life. And I'm really happy. And when I started with Usborne, all I wanted to do was buy a car. Seriously, just buy a car. That's all I wanted. But it did so much more for me. And I'm not even talking about personal skill growth, learning all these skills and all different kinds of things. So I am Usborne's #1 fan. So call me, and I'll get you excited about it if you're not already. So, okay. If you have any questions, anything in particular, I'm more than happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. Krista.
Hey, Charlene, thank you so much tonight.
What? What'd you say?
I said thank you so much for doing this tonight. I'm sorry I had to pop on late with this obligation I couldn't find my way out of. But
oh, no problem.
Did you cover all what you put in your packets?
Yes. I keep it very simple. I use the monthly recruiting packet. That's it. Pure and simple. The history of that packet is a funny story.
Easy.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's just enough information that they can make a good decision about whether they're interested in working with Usborne or not. You don't want to give them too much, and you don't want to give them too little, and I think it's a perfect amount. And then I also, of course, within that packet is the current kit special, and they do like to see that. I think that's important to have in there too. So, and then Krista, I was telling them that the follow-up is so important. And people always ask me, how many times do I call somebody back or contact them back? Well, I usually do 3 times of calling, but in terms of emailing or even messaging them, I'll do more with that, because you never know when somebody's looking at their email or getting their messages right away. So, but I usually contact them at least 3 times. And then if I'm calling them, if they don't respond to that, I just put the ball in their court and tell them that, to give me a call if they have any interest. But then I always put them on the mailing list or emailing list so that they hear from me at least once a month about the business opportunity. Anybody else have any questions?
Do you have anything that you specifically say when you follow up with them, or do you just ask if they have more questions? Or
Yeah, I try to keep it really simple, and again, I lay my cards on the table. So if I'm on the phone, I call them back and I'm like, did you have any questions or any interest about the Usborne business opportunity? And then they usually tell me if they have a question, they'll go ahead and answer it or ask it. And if they're not really interested, they'll always say, well, not really now, thank you. And I'm like, that's okay, that's great. I appreciate your honesty. I thank them for being honest with me and telling me. And so usually before I get off the phone, I always ask them, would you like to remain on my mailing list? And they almost always say yes to that, because I think, they're so relieved that I'm not pressing them further. Some of those telephone people that press you and press you and press you, that they always say yes to remaining on the mailing list. Remember that recruiting is a process, and they have to have that process to come to the conclusion that they want to become a rep. If you were somehow good enough to talk them into it, to kind of wow them and inspire them and talk them into it, but it really wasn't what they wanted, they're not going to stay with it very long, and you will have put effort and time into them, and then they just walk away from it. So it really is their decision. I always look at it this way. It's not my job to talk them into it. It's their job to decide if they want to or not. My only job is to give them the information. And I kind of passed up a slide here a little bit that I want to show you. Where is it? hold on a minute, here it is. So in the corner over here, I'm going to move you guys over here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the little billboard right here that says I love Usborne Books. I want you to consider yourself to be like that billboard. You know, have you ever driven down the street and you saw a billboard and you were mildly interested in it? So as you drove by, you're like, oh, that's a good idea. I should look into that, right? And then the next time you drive by, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that's a good idea. I should look into that. And by the third time that you drive by, you're trying to find a way to write the phone number down, you know, if it's a telephone number or a website or something like that. So in all advertising circles, they say it takes 3 to 6 times before a person acts on something, you know. So when you say to a person, you know, one of the reasons I'm here today is to I'm looking for people in this area to help me rep the books. When you say that to somebody, you may just be planting a seed about recruiting in their mind, a seed thought that needs to grow a little bit. Their reaction might be, oh no, thanks, not for me. But then they might walk away and start thinking about it, you know, and it might take them a day or an hour or a couple of days or a week or a year. But if you stay in contact with them, when they're ready, they're going to call you. And that's really important to do, because otherwise they're going to contact me because I've got my website everywhere, you know. So a lot of times we recruit for other people just because we don't follow up and stay in touch with somebody. In whatever way you want to do that, that's really important that you do. So yeah, recruiting is a process, and everybody takes a different amount of time to come to the conclusion of what they want. And you have to let them have that process, but you have to be there all along the way to be the one that catches them when they're ready. I actually, I have a good friend who, she was my hostess here in St. Louis. And this was back in the days where we didn't do parties from Facebook. We just did live parties, right? So she was my hostess, really nice, but then she moved out of town, you know, and I did not stay in touch with her because I couldn't do parties for her anymore, right? Well, I met her at convention one year. She was there as a team leader in somebody else's group, you know, and it was just a very stark reminder that if you don't stay in touch with them, when they're ready, somebody else is going to catch them, you know. And so with the computers and messaging and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, there's absolutely no excuse not to stay in touch with everybody that you hand out information to. Okay. Did that answer the question for you, Sarah? I get long-winded here sometimes. So anybody else have a question? Do you ever find like you have a problem or anything? We can talk about it if it's not working, some part of it is not working for you.
I have a question.
Yeah. Hey.
I seem to have quite a large handful of people who just say that they can't afford the cost of joining.
Okay.
So how do you approach that?
Okay. Yeah, I usually tell them to go ahead and have a party.
What if they've already hosted? They've hosted, or they're in the process of hosting. You know, you can turn it into their launch party, but they still don't bite.
Okay. Well, there are a group of people out there that don't know how to say no to somebody. And so they'll say everything else but no, right? So I just keep those people on the mailing list, and when they're when it changes for them, they go for it. You definitely want to give them incentives to join sometimes. So if it truly is a money problem, then I usually have them host a party, and I tell them that I'll give them the commission and they can join with that money. But I might keep the free books or something like that, whatever I negotiate with them. But
Okay.
there's, you know, that saying, where there's a will, there's a way, you know. If they wanted to, they would host a party and get the money, you know, to do it. Another thing I emphasize is that the company is really generous, and that in their first 12 weeks of the company, they can earn the cost of their kit back. And that's a way they could do it. They can invest now and then earn that money back, and
Okay.
even earn more money, you know, their commissions and also more free books and all kinds of things. So yeah. So if you have people saying that, move on. Remember, Marla, did you see the slide about the big street of New York?
I think I joined right in on that one.
Okay. Well, the idea is to picture yourself in that bunch of people there handing out packets of information, because that's what I do. I don't ask people to join. I ask them if they'd like a packet of information. So I picture yourself handing out information on that street corner, and somebody's interested in the business opportunity. You have a couple of choices. You can take them off to the side and give them your best licks and tell them everything you know, and either they're going to join or they're not to. And let's say they decide not to join. So what happens to all those people that are on the street corner while you're off on the side focusing on that one person?
Absolutely.
They're walking by without getting any information whatsoever. So keep yourself in the midst of the people and keep handing out information. That's what you should focus on more than getting people to join. Keep handing out packets of information. And out of those numbers, I said a little earlier that recruiting is definitely a numbers game. So if you go through enough numbers, you will find the people that want to do something like this. Yes. And another thing, sometimes I find people have trouble recruiting if they dump too much information on people. And so you want to keep it kind of general and exciting and use great words like make a lot of money, get a lot of free books, general things like that, instead of giving them all the details right away. When they're ready to join, they might want the details, but not until they're ready to join. They, keep it kind of in broad strokes, when you're talking about it. And don't get too excited about one person, that's more focusing on them like, oh, I got a recruit, I'm so excited. But just keep your focus on handing out those packets. And when you have a long list of people who have the packets that, you're following up on, that's when the real joy happens and the fun happens and people recruit and sign up and join and all that fun stuff, and that's how you build your team. Yeah. So another thing I said a little earlier that maybe you didn't hear was that you ask everybody and you don't judge anyone. So my goal when I do a booth is to give out 20 packets of information. Now that's the biggest thing. At my live parties, 3, and packets of information, and at Facebook parties, 3. So So my goal is to give out packets of information, not to get someone to sign on the dotted line. Now, sometimes they have done that. They're like ready. They've been looking to do something like this, and this is perfect, and they want to just get signed up right away. I'm like, okay, I never stop them. I don't really focus on that. So anybody else or any other questions about some trouble you might feel like you're having with recruiting? Does everybody feel like they're a good recruiter? Krista, you feel like you're a good recruiter? She looks like she's putting babies to bed. You've got your mute on, Krista. Here, I'll unmute it for you. It won't let me do it. Okay. Anybody else? Sarah? So what are your guys' plans? What are you going to do tomorrow about recruiting? How are you going to focus on it?
Start by finding that recruiting packet.
Yeah, definitely. And my email address is, I'll just say it, okay? Charlene, Charlene Usborne @yahoo.com. So if you can't find it, email me and I'll send it to you, okay? It's you can email it around town too. So even at your Facebook parties, you could email it to the people. It's good. Anything else? How about booking up your calendars? Events are important. You're going to meet the people. Get out there and meet the people. Maybe write those words down. I'm going to meet the people. So where can you meet some more people? And if you're just focused on Facebook parties, which is great, I love that. Maybe you want to round out a little bit more and pick up a booth here and there, or do something else where you're going to meet more people. So you broaden your pool of people to choose from, to give out packets to. I think that's important that you do that. Maybe go out of your community somewhere and find other places where you might reach the people. Okay. Sarah, I see you talking. Are you talking to me? No? Okay, that's all right. Okay.
Sorry, my kids are still up.
That's okay, no problem. I didn't know if you knew you were muted, so.
Yeah, my kids are still up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charlene, thanks for this. This is really helpful. I did have just a couple of questions about kind of what have I been doing wrong with this? Because I've been doing this for a year, and I'm think that I'm going to promote to team leader November 1st.
So exciting!
I've got my third person is just under being active after a really slow summer, and she's just going to get herself active over the next few days. So I think we'll be good. In the beginning, I had a lot of conversations with people. The people that did join under me were really enthusiastic, and I invested a lot of time in each one of them, and they've been super. I've really enjoyed it. What I found kind of since then is that the people who've expressed interest in now, I'm kind of spending quite a lot of time talking with them before they join, and maybe, I don't know, maybe giving them too much information, but I feel like I'm just answering questions. But then they say, oh, well, I understand now about this 30-day thing, and my next 30 days is really busy, so I can't do it in 30 days. Maybe I'll do it like in the next, and so that goes on sort of month after month. I don't want to pressure people if their 30 days are too busy, you know.
Yeah, right.
I almost feel like it's that kind of thing, like you never have a baby until you think you can afford one.
Yeah, right.
You know, a little bit. And I'm just not sure how to kind of get over that. Maybe sometimes a little bit.
I totally understand that. Sometimes I create incentives to push them over the edge. You know, like I might offer some extra free books or something like that, just to say, I'm running a special this month. Anybody that signs up, you get such and such, like maybe one book or a wind up or something like that. And I throw it in there in the pot to see if I can get them to move a little bit. You know, it also gives you a reason to call them back. If you haven't, you don't want, sometimes it gets awkward. Oh, I've talked to him already. I really have no reason to call him back, right? But you want to, and you can just or message them or whatever and just say, I'm running a special for the beginning of November, or the end of October, or whatever you want to say. Whoever joins gets, I'm going to give them an extra book. And one book doesn't mean a whole lot, so make it kind of special. Maybe even a set or something like that. Get it for them at a party. And whatever you think might work. I've done that a lot at different times, and sometimes it pushes people over. They can't resist the bargain of it, But, and you might just be in a dry patch, Sometimes that happens. You run in a string of people that just aren't ready to move yet. And so you might just keep going forward. Keep yourself in the midst of the people. Keep handing out packets and keep following up on it, and you'll break out of it. One year in particular, I had not recruited for 2 months in a row, and usually I recruit 2 to 5 people in a month, and I was like, wow, what happened? I've lost my mojo or something, that's just not working for me anymore. And I was like, wow, what's going on? I started talking to people. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm not recruiting anymore. And after the 2 months, it popped open, and there were like 10 people who recruited. And it was, I think I concluded after it was over that it was just a dry patch. But since I kept working and kept handing out packets and kept following through on people, it burst open, and I had a ton of recruits then. So keep going and keep pushing forward. Do watch giving them too much information. Don't offer them reasons why they shouldn't join, and think about what that means. So sometimes if you're like, yes, I want you to book 8 shows this month, and then you can book off of that. You start giving them a little too much information before they even join, you might scare them away. Does that make sense? Once they're in it and they're excited and they learn how easy parties are, that information wouldn't affect them at all. But before they know anything, that information might just give them a reason to not join, not to, want to do the business. So, and if you think what you're saying might be affecting with people, you might run it past Krista, what you're actually saying, and she might find something in there that is causing people to go negative or to think, well, I'm not good enough. Sometimes when we're too good at things, people are looking at us thinking, I could never be like her. I couldn't do it. So it doesn't hurt to be a goofball and to mess up and apologize, because then people see that you're real. They might even think, oh, I could do it better than her. And that's good. We want our recruits to do it better than us. We want them to come in. One time I had a gal who asked me, she couldn't recruit at all. She just wasn't recruiting at all. And so she worked a booth with me. And I noticed that when she found out that somebody was interested in the business opportunity, she got extremely excited. And the more excited she got, the higher her voice got. And so she was almost screeching at them, And I could see the people just walking away from her, just backing up, like, oh my gosh. So I told her, it was hard. I told her what she was doing, and she changed it, and she started recruiting right away. So I don't think that about you, that you guys are screeching at people. But it doesn't hurt to review with your team leader just exactly what you say and how you go about doing it, Because people want to join people who are peaceful, not crazy, usually, like, oh, that gal's a little crazy. All right. Anything else anybody needs?
When you do you just do like a one post with your Facebook parties about it, or do you kind of specifically talk to each person, or what do you do with those if you're not right with the people?
I usually do a post in the middle of it, and then I do one at the end. And then I will specifically, if I see somebody that got a very large order or anything that might trigger that I think, they might have a slight interest, I might personally offer them a packet of information and see what they say. It's, Facebook parties are a lot like live parties in that you have to interact with the people somehow. You have to get them talking to you and you talking to them, and then you get to know about them, and you can offer them things at that point. Mm-hmm. I also at some point give my testimony, I call it, of why I started with the business. And sometimes I just type it in, as a post. And other times I have a whole post about it, why I started and stuff. So yeah, there's many different ways. And switch it up if it doesn't seem like it's drawing anybody. Look around and see what other people are doing that are having more success with it. It might be your post. You might be able to find one that says it a little better, that's a little more interesting or a little more attractive of some sorts. Okay. It's always good. We're always tweaking everything, right? And working on it and making it better. I call it trolling. I go through Facebook looking for great posts for parties, and I'll, just flipping through, always looking for something better than what I have, So, do you all mainly do Facebook parties? Yeah. Okay. I didn't see anybody, but okay. Any other questions? Any thoughts? How are your calendars? Are they booked? Yeah, good. Okay. I wish I could unmute you all. Why don't you guys unmute? I don't care if they're
Yes,
talking.
my calendar's booked.
I've had a super slow few months.
Yeah.
'Cause house and stuff, they can see you. Just so you know. Okay. And I'm sort of getting back into the swing of things. I think
Good.
I was quite discouraged over the summer.
Sure.
I have a few people under me, and I didn't want to be fake with them.
Yeah.
I didn't like, it'll be great and wonderful.
Yeah.
But nor did I want to be like, yeah, this really stinks, doesn't it? And so we sort of took the summer off, really.
Yeah.
Now we're all kind of getting back in, and so I'm excited to find that actually it's a little bit easier than I thought. Now that I've spent a couple of late nights working out the website, I feel like I kind of understand.
Can understand it.
I'm posting more on my business page.
Good.
In fact, my Facebook business page got so many likes or something that Facebook offered me a $10 coupon to promote my next post.
Wow. Hey.
So I've just done that, and it's got something like 381 clicks already.
Wow, that's great. Wow.
really exciting.
That's a positive Facebook thing. That's great.
Right. That was a really nice thing. So that was
Mhm.
exciting. And so I've got a couple of booths coming up. We're thinking about doing like a sort of a home shopping Christmas cookie / thing.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
A friend of mine who's she's starting a catering business.
Oh, okay.
A few direct seller friends paying like $20 each or something. And she's going to do the appetizers.
Oh, nice.
Just kind of some things that people like to see the books.
Yes, right.
And I also put in a consignment order and also a very large order of mainly stocking stuffer type things. Like a lot of the pocket doodling, the activity.
Yeah, those are wonderful. I know.
All that kind of stuff. So I'm sort of hoping just to kind of get going that way. And then I should be promoting November 1st. But
That's exciting. Yeah.
So yeah, I am really excited. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, just rest assured, we will get through this computer stuff, and we'll all get t-shirts that we survived the computer conversion, but we will get through it. And those who stick around will just explode out of the gate, just start growing very quickly. And it was hard. We can't deny that. And it's been a rough summer, it really has. But I think we'll come out of it fairly soon. I feel confident with that. I have confidence in the home office and Randall especially, and we talked to an IT guy today. It was very, very interesting, and he's really competent, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, so. All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to your families unless you have any other questions for me. Yeah? No?
Thank you so
We
much.
were good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was happy. This is fun. Hey, Chris, I didn't know you were there. All right. Well, very good. Well, you guys have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and get this, stop recording it. And in fact, I should do that now. Stop recording. And then